Welcome to Affinage Education Online. My name is Shelley Dinsdale, National Education Manager. Today I would like to present to you a technique which is generally quite basic in the hairdressing industry, but you'll see today how we'll take that to a new level with very basic pastel type colouring. Now, the choice of colours that I'm going to use today are very fluent at this point in time when it comes to colouring out in the marketplace. Pastels are something that you see common at this point in time, and I'm going to share some variations with you so that you can mix and change and custom create your colours based on the type of technique that you want to achieve and use. So what I've done is pre-prepared my model, pre-lightened the regrowth area to match the mid-lengths and ends. My starting point was a level 5, so reasonably dark with a fairly cool natural overtone. My aim was to match the mid-lengths and ends, so we've got a beautiful consistent colour from roots to ends at a perfect blank canvas to create our pastel colour. The technique is more commonly known as a teardrop type of technique, which you can use strong colours to create very strong effects, or alternatively softer pastel type tones, which again are very fluent at this point in time. So starting off, you can see the haircut shape is slightly asymmetric, and my aim here is to create a focal point pushing the hair over to one side using my pastel colour. Now, the colour I'd like to use today I've titled Peach, and Peach is a combination of our new colour coordinates, which is mixing our designer pastel, which is known as a white, and it acts as a diluter. So designer pastel is really great to use in large quantities and then add smaller proportions of your bright colours to create beautiful pastel reflex. Now, this type of technique is fairly simple. It's just about sectioning out a portion of hair where you want the focal point to direct towards, and that will be the heavier side. So what I've chosen is for the heavier side to come down here, drawing towards the corner of the eye. And on my left-hand side, I'm going to have a slight trickle of colour that just blends the effect through together. Now, the perimeter area will remain really light and blonde. Again, a great canvas to start off with to create any kind of pastel, bright, or effect where you want a little bit more intensity. So I'm going to start off with my conditioner, and I'm going to place my conditioner around the section that I'm not colouring. And this is a great tool to prevent any bleed that may occur as a result of the colour that you place in your teardrop being quite strong, to stop it from hindering or interfering with your clean blonde perimeter colour that you want to remain as is. Now again, just pointing out, we've got a beautiful little trickle fringe and through the front here. I want my strength of colour to come towards my right hand side focal point with a little bit of bleed coming over onto this side here. So this perimeter section around here I'm going to apply conditioner to liberally, and the conditioner will prevent, again as I mentioned earlier, any possible contact from the top section, so you're separating the interior from the exterior. It also assists when you're rinsing the colour out to again avoid any combination of colours going onto areas in which you don't want that colour to be. It's quite important when you're creating these types of effects to ensure that you've got a nice blank and even canvas to start off with. So that means ensuring that your blonde is really even from roots to ends so that you get a great combination of shades complementary. Now, as I mentioned, pastel colours are quite fluent at the moment, and it's really easy to use our new Affinage colour coordinates, which come in 3 categories. We have our brights, which consist of 5 colours, and those colours are an orange, a purple, a blue, a pink, and a red. And you can literally add small portions of these particular bright colours to the designer pastel, which is the white, and create your own simple pastel effects. So having the ability to custom create shades to suit the client's skin tone, to suit their personality, is a great tool for variation. Just ensuring all that hair is covered totally, so we avoid any contamination. And I'll now start placing my peach mix, which is a combination of the designer pastel, our pretty pink, and our flame orange onto our teardrop section. I'm going to start off with placing a foil on the perimeter section just to protect that hair, to ensure that again, this top section which we're going to place that pastel colour on does not come into contact with the exterior of the hair. Having the conditioner on there as well makes it easy for the foil to adhere to the hair so it doesn't slip. So continuing on, just going back to the original starting point, we had started at a level 5 with a natural cool reflect, and my aim was to match the mid-lengths and ends. So what I chose to use was the Infinity Permanent 3/4 of 12.11, which is our strongest blue ash, to 1/4 of 12.2, which is our pearl ash. Now, the two in combination help to alleviate and counteract unwanted warmth that naturally occurs on a level 5 to create a very clean result. That was mixed 1:2 ratio with 12% Affinage developer and processed for 60 minutes. General processing time is between 35 and 55, but for maximum lifting ability and for the greatest amount of deposit to counteract unwanted warmth, you are best to leave it on the full 60 minutes. So that enabled me to create a nice clean canvas to then place our pastel colour on. The beauty of these pastels is that they are a treatment base, which means that you're nourishing the hair and protecting it at the same time, whilst injecting some really soft colour. Now they're a true semi-permanent, the colour coordinates, and a true semi-permanent lasts approximately 6 to 8 washes. Now I could make this as pastel as strong as I like, and the factor there would be how much designer pastel, which is your white, that you would add to the mixation. So the more pastel you would add to your mix, the softer the result will be. The less pastel you create, the more intense or perhaps more fluorescent the result would be. Now I've chosen to apply this to dry hair, which will give me maximum durability and lasting ability. So dry hair just ensures that I'm not diluting the product by applying it to damp wet hair, which will give me maximum result. Just going through and ensuring that I'm applying sufficient product for full coverage. So we get a nice even result from roots to ends. And because the colour coordinates have a treatment base to them, it will give me a nice even result from roots to ends, even though the porosity of the hair from roots to ends changes. Now the processing time for this type of result really depends on how long you want the result to last for and how intense and how porous the hair is. Now in my instance, I'm going to leave it on for 20 minutes. Again, the beauty of it is you can chop and change. So when the customer comes back and they've decided they really love this colour but they'd like to have a change for winter and perhaps go for something a little cooler, then maybe we could create a more customised mix to suit that time of year. So the seasonal trends generally in winter are more about cooler reflex, and those cooler reflex could be violet hues or baby sky blue type hues. So again, you've got the flexibility to be able to create those different effects with the use of designer pastel in the colour coordinates. Now given the hair has been pre-lightened and does have a degree of natural porosity through that pre-lightening, I'm just going to emulsify the product in thoroughly to ensure that I have good coverage of colour. Ensuring you're covering every section of hair. And as you can see, that's already starting to work away and give you an idea or an indication of what the result will look like. Now I'm going to let that sit and process for 20 minutes and I'll come back to you shortly. Alright, so we have our final completed look. I wanted to show you a couple of versions how the hair can be worn. As you can see, our beautiful pinky peach is coming over to this right hand side here. We have strength of colour lingering over this side with a tiny little bit of smothering coming over here. Now this is one very classic look. I've pushed the colour onto the fringe just to get that blended kind of effect. and spritzed it with some Instant Gloss, which is our glazer in the Sapphire Ice range. Now, aside from wearing it like this, you can also go for, this is more of a conservative look, you could also go for a little bit more of a windswept, fashionable look where we're going to portray a lot of the colour coming over onto our right-hand side there, taking away from this side here and really exaggerating that swoop in that part. Okay, in preparation for the blow dry, I've used the essential oils volume therapy. Now we've got relatively fine hair. What I wanted to do is give just a small amount of root lift with a beautiful curved end. Then I've used the straightening irons just to smooth over those end pieces so they flow beautifully. So the volume therapy gives me the sufficient amount of root lift that I want to give the hair volume, but it still smooths it over and gives me that contoured, soft, blended type of look. And there we go.
Guidance, looking to your heart.